pregnancy or the complications of the gestation can be divided into those because of the fetus and those because of the mother. The fetal complications include the fetal death, the fetal compromise, the fetal death that occurs before day 45 is considered the early embryonic death, and that occurring beyond day 45 is considered an abortion. Abortion has been defined as the expulsion of the fetus before completion of the gestation, that is incapable of independent life. Then there is fetal mummification, fetal maceration, and fetal compromise include the fetal monsters, the dropsical conditions, the ascites, anasarca, and the hydrocephalus. The maternal complications of gestation include the dropsy of the placental membranes, the hydroallantois and hydroamnion, the abdominal, inguinal, and umbilical hernias, rupture of the prepubic tendon, ectopic pregnancy, rupture of the vagina, cervicovaginal prolapse, uterine torsion, the metabolic disorders of the gestation, a prolonged gestation, hydrometra, and the prolapse of the vagina. Now first we discuss about the fetal problems, early embryonic death and abortion. Abortion is, as I said earlier, that abortion is the expulsion of a fetus that is incapable of independent life before the completion of the gestation. A fetus which is delivered before completion of gestation but is capable of independent life is considered in premature parturition. The causes of abortion could be infectious, hormonal, chemicals and drugs, physical, and the genetic. Now, we will not be discussing in today's lecture the various causes of the abortion, and we will be discussing it. We have already discussed it in one lecture previously in gynecology class. Now, fetal mummification is the fetal death without CL lysis during the last third of gestation and is of two types. The hematic one, which occurs in cattle, buffalo, and there is blood because of cotyledon involution. So the mummified fetus in these species is chocolate brown. Then the second type is the papyraceous, which is seen in dogs, cats, and pigs. The fetus, it becomes paper-like because of absorption of the fluids. The etiology of fetal mummification is poorly understood. However, the Campylobacter, the bovine virus diarrhea, Leptospira, hog cholera, and Orzechowski's disease in pigs is considered to cause the fetal mummification. Torsion of the umbilical cord is one cause of the fetal mummification. In pigs, Berkshire breed is known to have higher incidence of mummified fetuses. The clinical findings in a case of fetal mummification include the anistrus or shrinkage of the udder in primiparous heifers, a heifer which was previously showing the development of the udder, which usually occurs at 4 to 5 months of gestation. Then the udder starts shrinking back. So these are the usual clinical complaints. The cervix is closed and the fetus is sterile. One or more mummified fetuses with one or more live fetuses is seen in pigs and occasionally in dogs and cats or goats. In cattle, mummified fetus with normal calf is called the static fetal cadaver. The diagnosis of fetal mummification depends on the transrectal palpation of a thick uterine wall and mummy-like fetus with empty eye sockets. Ultrasonographic examination reveals a thick uterine walls and hyperechoic bones without fluid. Here you can see in this ultrasound picture that a bird-like fetal head is seen in an ultrasound picture. The therapy usually includes the administration of prostaglandins and the manual removal of the mummified fetus after the administration of prostaglandins. If this does not respond, sometimes we can administer beta-2 adrenergics and then administer a prostaglandin and try to deliver this mummified fetus from the uterus. Sometimes, rarely, the mummified fetus is not expelled, and then a colpotomy or a hysterotomy in low value animals is suggested. A laparohysterotomy may be attempted, but sometimes when we perform a laparohysterotomy and when we incise the uterus, we find that the fetus becomes embedded in the uterine wall, and at times you have to cut the uterine endometrium, and then that's a very hopeless case. The future fertility, if the fetus is delivered by the administration of prostaglandins, the future fertility is fair to good. If the fetus is embedded in the uterine wall, fertility is questionable. In goat, mummification of one fetus subsequent to delivery of one fetus has been recorded. In pigs, fetal mummification is very common and occurs between 40 to 90 days, and viral diseases like PRRS, porcine herpes virus, they are all known to cause an increase in the incidence of mummified fetuses. In these pictures, you can see the mummified fetuses. This one is showing a mummified fetus in a bovine uterus, and this again is a buffalo mummified fetus, again a buffalo mummified fetus, and then empty eye sockets can be seen in these fetuses. Again, this is a buffalo mummified fetus delivered at our center, and this is these are the mummified fetuses delivered from a bitch, and these are the mummified fetuses delivered from pigs. Fetal maceration is common in cattle and buffalo, and failure of abortion of a dead fetus after formation of the fetal bones followed by disintegration with a partially open cervix results in fetal mummification. If the fetus dies in the uterus and cervix is partially open, the facultative organisms in the environment may invade the uterus and result into the maceration of the fetus. Usually there is a clinical complaint of discharge of pus with fetal bones and a constant straining. The finding of a piece of bone lodged in the cervix or vagina, or finding of pus with pieces of bones, and rectal findings of thick-walled uterus with crepitating field is the usual clinical finding that helps in the diagnosis. Ultrasonographic evaluation will show hyperechogenic bone in echogenic pus, and rarely bone pieces may pierce the uterine wall and enter the abdominal cavity. This will result into extensive peritonitis and the animal may die. The therapy is the administration of prostaglandins and manual removal of the pieces of the bones. Sometimes they are embedded in the cervix or maybe in the vagina that have to be removed manually. And one can infuse a large quantity of normal saline and then attempt to remove these pieces of bones. Surgical removal by performing a laparohysterectomy is a viable option, but many a times because of the contamination of the abdomen with the uterine contents during a laparohysterectomy may result in peritonitis and death of the animal. Then supportive therapy is essential, and future fertility is poor and many a times questionable. Here in these pictures you can see a macerated fetus, a uterus containing a macerated fetus, plenty of pus and the separated bones. This is an ultrasound picture showing a macerated fetus, and then this is a buffalo from which the macerated fetus was delivered. Now we talk about the fetal dropsical conditions. Dropsy means swelling of the soft tissues due to excessive accumulation of water. These may be fetal ascites, fetal anasarca, hydrocephalus, and hydrothorax. First we discuss fetal ascites. Fetal ascites is a Greek word. Ascos means a bag of wine. So accumulation of the excess fluid in the abdominal cavity is known as fetal ascites. The etiology could be brucellosis, mesotheliomas of the fetal abdomen, obstruction of the lymphatics, or diminished urinary excretion from the fetus. This results in a difficult birth because the abdomen of the fetus enlarges sufficiently, and then this is difficult to be delivered. Now, a fetus with fetal ascites, when palpable in the birth canal, can be delivered by puncturing the abdomen, because usually the fetus with fetal ascites is dead, and once you just cut the abdominal fluid will be out, and then the fetal diameter would decrease and fetus can be delivered. Hydrops fetalis may be due to any factors that cause passive venous congestion, that is intraperitoneal or intrathoracic neoplasia, leiomyomas, teratomas, hepatoblastomas, cirrhosis of the liver or other liver anomalies, cardiac anomalies, pulmonic valve stenosis, or dysplasia of the lungs themselves. Some of these anomalies are heritable in several breeds of cattle. Then degenerative changes occur in the liver, and there are the polycystic kidneys. You can see these three fetuses. This is a fetus with ascites, a buffalo fetus. This is again a bovine fetus with fetal ascites. Again, this is a buffalo fetus, and here you can see the abdomen is enlarged sufficiently, and this causes problems in the delivery of the fetus. Then we discuss about the fetal anasarca. Ana means throughout, and sarca means new flesh. Fetus with generalized edema all over the body is known as fetal anasarca. It's observed in cattle, sheep, and goat. In Ayrshire cattle, this is common and caused by autosomal recessive gene. A fetal anasarca causes a difficult birth. It's usually delivered dead or may abort. The therapy for such could be giving sufficient cuts on at many places of the fetus so as to reduce the fetal diameter and deliver the fetus through the vagina. Then we discuss about hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is the accumulation of the fluid in the meninges of the brain and is of two types. Internal hydrocephalus, a collection of fluid in the cerebral cavities, and external hydrocephalus, a collection of fluid outside the brain substance. Bovine hydrocephalus occurs widely in cattle and has been reported in virtually all major beef and dairy breeds, including Hereford, Shorthorn, Ayrshire, Holstein Friesian, Jersey, and Angus breeds. Neuropathic hydrocephalus is a lethal genetic condition caused by a recessive mutation that affects Angus and Angus-influenced cattle. Affected calves are born dead with an extremely large cranium with little or no brain material or spinal cord. In mares also, inheritance was proven to some extent. Bovine fetal infection with bovine virus diarrhea virus, Schmallenberg virus, blue tongue virus, acapane virus, or anovirus are associated with a range of congenital malformations, of which the most prominent develop in the central nervous system. Hydrocephalic fetuses may cause dystocia and sometimes born live, while most die shortly after birth. So in these pictures you can see the hydrocephalus. This is a indigenous breed calf with the enlarged cranium. Again, in this one, a cut was given on the head and the fluid was released. This is a buffalo hydrocephalic fetus. Then this is a hydrocephalic calf that was delivered normally, but because of the enlargement of the brain, this calf showed a lot of problems. These are hydrocephalic fetuses in sheep. This is a hydrocephalic fetus from a horse, and then this one again a horse hydrocephalic fetus, and this is a puppy with hydrocephalus. Now we talk about the maternal complications of gestation. What could be the